Who's the Boss started with a dirty old van. Fantastic. Morning, everybody. My name is Curtis, and this is Good Morning. This is the show. Once again, just started with no real place to go. Um, no, I do. I have a pile of notes. I genuinely could put together a nice, tight 22-minute show with specific parts that I actually intend to be funny and parts that I intend to be just straight up informative, and whatever a segment thing where a thing will slide in all on purpose. I have that capacity. I have that skill. I can organize things and bend them to my will. But that's not the point of this show. Why? I was gonna keep rhyming, but that's crazy talk. Um, Today we're gonna talk about why and how and what. That's not the name of this show, even though I just did my hands in the way where a word would normally pop up. Um, Basically, one of the people who watches the show, listens to the show at least, is Mike White. He's also kind of like my boss, and we used to work together side by side, and I was his boss at one point. We've known each other we've known each other for 1,000 years, and when he watches these shows, he ends up kind of making notes and thinking about how he would respond to these things as if I'm actually in the room, like I normally am, or on the other side of the Skype screen like I normally am, but I'm not. I'm just talking. And then Mike was like, "Ah, he mentioned me or a thing that I'm working on. I should be able to respond, but I can't." Or just a thing where it's just like, here's what I think about that, Curtis. What if it was Bruce Willis? Like, um, no, Mike, that I do 3 of these a week. What are you talking about? That was from like 2 weeks ago, or a podcast I haven't done for 2 years. What are you talking about? Like, hey, Curtis. Like, yeah, Mike, what's up? Remember that podcast we used to do like 12 years ago? Yeah, I do. There's I don't know, like 30 episodes, 40 episodes, something like that. I think I still have most of them somewhere on this machine. Yeah, anyway, I was listening to an old one, from 12 years ago, and I just thought th- uh you mentioned that thing, and I was like, 4. The answer is probably 4. Fo- 4? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't remember now. I just made that note, so I thought maybe you'd remember because you usually remember all the things. Once again, Mike, I can't remember the things that happened to you in your life. I can remember everything if I'm there or if you've already told me previously, but although this is a memory of a thing I was a part of that I'm there technically, I'm not actually there. So that Curtis on that timeline is already doing a different story, which is it connects to this Curtis on this timeline, but I can't I can't hear what he's or know that I wasn't on the train. I wasn't in your car. I don't know what we're talking about, and it's crazy that you also don't know what we're talking about and you're asking the question. But that is also the fun of Mike White. Um, the reason that this episode, this show exists is I'm like I said before. There's lots of different little facets to this magical diamond that we pulled out of the turd. That is I don't know. I don't know what the turd is that I'm pulling this out of. Either way, everything's a turd except this show. There we go. Saved it. And tell all your friends that they should know about this thing. And it doesn't blow. Okay, share it and subscribe. Now go on with the thing that you were just saying, idiot. Okay, sorry. What? That's why rappers say what all the time, because they'll say something crazy and then they literally. Somebody's definitely mentioned that before. I'm not the first one to mention this, so I'm not just like, I'm a crazy person and I think I'm a genius. I think somebody else has definitely said, oh, you know that, you know, a lot of times you'll just like say something and it's like, oh, it rhymed, but that was crazy. Yeah, you gotta say, what? Who came up with that? I think that's them just talking to their brains to say like, I think we both went off the rails. Doesn't matter. It's too late. Nobody noticed. Keep going. Done and done. Just say the name of the city and we're all good. Hey. Okay. Neither here, neither there. Let's clear the air and start with this. So, 1,000 years ago in an office that I shared with Mike White, worked separately, and then eventually it was like, now he's helping you supervise. Okay, perfect. He knows how to do all the things, and he'll do all the things as I instruct. This is going to work out great. And as I would do all the things, I would, of course, I don't know, I call it telling stories. I would tell stories. I would say the things that were up here that related to the things out there with all the people and the normal things. And I guess it would make me so crazy that my hair would get higher and taller. Looks normal in this camera, right? I don't know. I don't know. Uh, to a point where Mike was like, I need to take these with me. I need to hear this again. I can't keep asking you to keep telling these stories. It's like, what stories, Mike? What are you talking about? I've never told a story. I just told you what I did on the way to work today or what I saw on the way to work today. You're a crazy person, Mike White. You're a crazy person. And Mike took the time to explain to me, no, no. Now that I realize that the things that you're telling me are just a few minutes of your life and not an epic tale of a hobbit adventure trying to destroy or save something, you're the crazy one. Like, okay, cool. Either way, what are we going to do with this? Harness it. What are you talking about? And that's why Mike's a businessman now and not a ridiculous, silly artist like I am, trying to make pictures for him. Because that's what you do. You see a thing and you're just like, what is this? And then he brought it into the office like a real live microphone, which I'd never really seen in real life. And he set it up on the desk, and it was like, there's no way to really hold this up. So I took a bunch of stuff and I taped it together until it made a microphone stand, because that's where I live in my head. I just want to make dumb, weird, fun things. And Mike was like, this is great. Now this is, and then we talked about that on the show. And it wasn't just like I taped some stuff. It became this thing where Mike was like, no, 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 you did this. And you were like, I gotta, and it was like watching Indiana Jones solve a puzzle. Like, we both see the world in a very odd and weird way, and maybe we should work on that, or maybe we should use it more. And again, let's make a show out of it, I guess. And Mike said, yeah, this podcasting thing, you're gonna start doing that. And I was like, I still don't know what that is. I don't understand what you're saying. Mirko has an iPod. That's all I know about iPods. I'm pretty sure they're $1 million. Who can do an iPod? It's like, you don't need it. Most people just listen to them on the internet. Then why is it called a podcast? Don't worry about that. We're just going to make this thing happen, and it's going to be great. What is it? I'm going to sit down, I'm going to hit record, and then you're going to tell me the stories like you do. I don't know. I can't. I don't know what you're talking about. This will never work. And finally, he started getting it set up, and I think we recorded something, or whatever we did, ran it into an audio thing. Mike knew enough about sound and music and that kind of stuff to make that happen, and I knew enough as well. So we did it. We recorded the thing, and I think we might have added a sound effect then. Either way, it was like, so what was that? What just happened? And Mike was like, that was exactly what it should have been. Like, it was, now I have some of it. Like, what? Like, it's been contained, it's been trapped. The genie, whatever, the magic has been put in a bottle, and now I can take it out whenever I want. Like, are you trying to own my soul? Is that what this is? Is this a weird old-timey movie where some crazy person is trying to own somebody else's soul so that they can keep it with them and have it forever? Except, like, this feels very, again, Lord of the Ringsy, to bring it back around to that thing of how you describe what I do. And it's just like, well, yeah, exactly. Like, I go to the store and I get some bread. Mm-hmm. You go to the store and get some bread, but it's like, I went to the store and then I was by the bread, but this other, like, new bread that said it had all these extra nutrients and stuff was on sale for the same price as the bread that we would normally get. But I'm not much of a bread guy, so I'm worried, like, are people like really that crazy about their bread brands? Am I going to bring home a bread that people are just going to be like, that does not, I don't care about the extra nutrients, I'm about the flavor of a Wonder Bread or a whatever. And I'm trying, like, what I thought, bread's cool, right? Like, any bread is good. I personally don't really think too much about bread unless it's either fancy restaurant bread, in which case I'm like, hey, cool. How about, you know what? After tasting this, I don't need food. Bring me more of this delicious bread, little pats of butter, and then let's go back in time and live next door to an East Side Yes, in East Side Mario's, where the old days where you would get a giant red bowl full of salad that it's like, this is for the table, but if everybody orders a different kind of salad, then everybody gets their own giant red bowl. And I'm not a maniac. I'm not a monster who just eats out of the giant red bowl. Although I've seen and eaten with people who do, I put it to the side and I put the salad on a little plate like a human being, and I put some bread on the plate like a human being, and I eat it all up like a little squirrel also like a human being, and I have a great time. And I think the next time I come to Eastside Mario's, I'm not getting food. I'm just going to be like, what does it cost for you to keep bringing salad and bread to the table? Because that's all I want. And then after a while, develop um, I don't know, let's call it the eating schedule of, hmm, go to Eastside Mario's, you order the meal that has an unlimited salad, unlimited bread, and then you eat, I don't know, three giant red bowls of salad and four loaves of bread. It's fine. It's cool. I don't know. I don't gain much weight. It's magic. And um, then you just wrap it up. And your meal, yeah, just wrap that up. But you haven't touched it. That means more and a fuller meal to eat later. This is an excellent plan. Let's do this all the time. Why doesn't everybody do this? Clearly they do, because the next time I went to Eastside Mario's after moving to this place where there is never an Eastside Mario's and go to this city and be like, giant red bowl of salad, please, with that salad dressing that's clearly just not good at all for me because it's just so good. And then they bring it and it's just like, this is like a normal salad. Salad's normal size looking. This bread is like tiny, normal looking. Doesn't, again, this bread like tastes like regular bread that I could just have at home on my table. Doesn't feel like it's killing me with the deliciousness. I mean, the poison that I associate with deliciousness, or the deliciousness of poison and dying. And this salad dressing is clearly, I don't know, not clogging up anything. Like my arteries are like, this is great. This is like, we can actually um, use this to make energy because it's like healthy for us or something. I don't know. I think it's infused with just water molecules and it's good. And not that I'm saying like I'm not a big, hey, let's go eat horrible junk food. I'm trying to eat like the unhealthiest salad over here. And bread is always, again, like I'm not a giant bread person, but like that was a thing. This was, you know, the you can't go home again thing when you go back to the place that was the same as whatever, like the soccer field where we used to do everything is now basically a forest with some soccer poles somewhere in that forest. Um, Eastside Mario's is not, it's not a magical place to eat salad and bread anymore. Um, oh God, that was I live on Tangent Road. It's a magical place that goes in all different directions, much like a subdivision, except sometimes you can get back from where you started, and sometimes you can't. I'd love to tell you how to get there, but I don't know how, and there's no way to know where you are to give people directions to or from. That's Tangent Land. Tangent Street? Tangent Lane. Yeah, it's all part of the Tangent multiplex. Uh, but back to the Mike Whiting. I never actually named this show. This is, like I said, halfway through, right before the cartoon, a history of violence. Nope, that's not good. It's American History X. There's no word, there's no history reference I can think of that doesn't conjure horrible thing. The History Channel, this is not any of those things. This is all about Mike White and the power he has had over my life to get me into this show, and how, yeah, sometimes I tell a story like suffrage. So this is the White Power. Nope, nope, nope. This is the beginning of my never-ending story. There you go. That's safe and it's okay. Let's go to a cartoon so I can breathe for 5 seconds. Hey Gretchen, what do you call a monkey in the kitchen sink? Steven. Alright, I'll give it a try. Steven! Steven! Get out of the sink. Get out of the sink, Steven. No, don't put. Oh my God, that's a lot of poop. That's too much. That's don't throw that. Okay, well, um, I don't think his name is Steven. And we're back. So as I was saying, Mike listens to this show, and he was like, "I feel bad that I enjoy it so much. I get to laugh, I get to smile, and my laughs and my joy come from too often your suffrage." And I have to say, "No, Mike, it's okay. It's okay. Most of the time, my stories have no suffrage whatsoever. It's just how I tell a story. It's I don't know. I want to say how I was raised." I feel like most of us were told, like, do what you're good at, be good at what you do, but don't show off, or else God will get you. Something, something, the Bible? I don't know. But I feel like that's the vague programming memory that I have of becoming a human being. Like, just don't be crazy. So, like I said, when I go to the grocery store, I remembered my detour back from Tangent Street. Um, like I said, it's bread, and um, then I'm like, oh, there was a kid there, and the kid was like waving a cucumber around at its mom, and like, hey, mommy, I'm going to beat you with this sword. Watch out, mommy. It's a whatever, expertly sharpened cutlass. And the mom was like, come on now. And then the kid is like, wait, mommy, I bet you didn't even know. Like, what's that? I was actually the dragon the whole time. Stab, stab, stab. And then I'm just like, all right, that all gets computed. Like, why? That kid, like, he really needed a plot twist, and he presented it, even though his mom couldn't see any of this story. Like, this is amazing. Regardless, like, I better just stick with the bread that I know everyone knows, because you don't go chasing waterfalls. You stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. You don't want to get some Wonder Bread or get nothing at all, because it's way too late. So, whatever, I go home and I have the need, just like that kid, to explain here's everything that happened. Pum, pum, pum. I was the dragon the whole time. It was Tyler Durden. What? Yeah. Did you get bread? Yeah, oh yeah, here's the bread. Bread's all cool. I already made sandwiches. Everything's a-okay, but I also absorbed so many things, like the absorbing man, who I think was the character that Chris Christopherson, was he the one? Or the other guy from the first Hulk movie? I don't know. What is going on with my head? I need a haircut. Either way, doesn't matter. Like I said, first thing I get when this show pays for employees, not sound gear, not cameras, somebody just to do my hair every day, or Samuel L. Jackson's hat person. That's not a thing. Um, oh snaps! So Mike White records a thing and tells me podcast, podcast, podcast. We bring on Ben, who's also like, hey, yeah, you're going to do this podcast, podcast, podcast. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then we hit an impasse where it's like, we don't know how to make it into a podcast. We can record it. We know how to make audio. Like, yeah, we all know how to do that. That's easy. I don't even know what a podcast is. Make it into a thing. What's an RSS feed? RRS feed? RSS feed. Think it's an RSS feed. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I don't care. All of it's like you just plug it into whoever. And I I got caught up. Then it was like just watching Ben's suffrage of his story. I can't. I tried this and this doesn't do it. And I tried that. All right then. Ugh. Move to the side and let me see, let me read, let me look, let me feed on all of this just Geordie LaForge nonsense that I have to take in through my visor. And I just don't know if I can do this. I deal with so many dumb computer things all the time, and I feel like I've taken a somewhat of a vow to not do that anymore. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna be the art guy at the studio, guys. I don't want to make computers work anymore, but I will make this podcast work. So I did, and between the three of us, we made an RSS feed. We found out what it was, and I even knew what the letters stood for, and there it was. It was called Dear Internets. Hey, Dear Internets, because I think I would say that. I'm guessing again within the studio, Mike would say, blah, 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 I noticed this today. And I'd be like, dear internet, like, that's crazy. Or www dot Mike, you don't know anything about the world.com. Let me explain things to you because Mike also, he doesn't have a sarcasm bone. He doesn't understand it. It just hits him like, ha, it's funny because you think that you're being funny, but you're just saying the opposite thing when there's no need to. Like, I don't get it. And that's funny to me now. Like, Mike, you're crazy. You're weird, but you actually make sense because sarcasm doesn't really make sense. So the way we, I don't know, taught Mike Marxism, the way we taught Mike sarcasm, the real problem is I have a problem with not calling him Mike White. I just always say Mike White, and not adding that part in there is throwing off the rest of my day. It's a time saver not to use it, but there's certain people I need to use their whole name or else I negate them from existence, like a Marty McFly photo. So eventually we'd start getting crazy revisions. And by crazy revisions, I mean people outside of the animation community would get a chance to look at this thing and say, hey, we have all the money, and without us, you have nothing. And we'd say, you're right. What would you like us to change today? And they'd say something, for example, like, we don't like all those shadows on the windows. Like, there isn't any shadows in the windows. We don't know what you're talking about. We'll try to remove them. So looking like, all right, there's just the window color, and then there's like a shine because it's a shiny day, and then the shine goes across a window as a car moves. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? You've played any sort of 8-bit game, that's the whole animation you've got for the car. How you know that it's a car is the white lines going across the window. And then we found out, oh, by shading, they mean the shine lines, the highlights, the big bright whatevers. Okay, cool, so we'll get rid of those. And then we did and just made it a flat, like black or blue or whatever the sky color was, window. And then here you go, nothing's happening now. You just have a stiff, still car with like clouds moving by in the background or something. Um, what's up? Render, set it to tape, and away it goes. And then like 2 weeks later, you get something back because that's how tape works. And they're like, "What's up with the windows? They're like boring now, and nothing happens." Yeah, that that's what happens when you remove the thing that's happening. What would you like us to do? Great and powerful Oz? And the great and powerful Oz is like, can you put like shine or something on there? Like how when we see in like everything else in the world? We sure can. You know how fast I can do that? In like, how long does it take to render a file now these days? 30 seconds? In about 40 seconds, because it's going to take me a couple of seconds to open the folder, then open the file, and then hit the render button, type in the right number, make sure it goes to the right folder, but then it's pretty much there. 40-45 seconds, because I know that you're going to realize the thing that you said didn't make sense and just want me to change it back to the old way. So I saved it. I save all the things that you want changed because 90% of the time your genius secondary advice is, can we just put it back to the right way? Because this way was wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about. And we all sit around and go, yeah, that person doesn't know. What's their credentials? You don't want to know. They were literally an assistant to somebody out of some other like business college. Oh, cool. So they should definitely tell me how the timing of a scene works. That makes perfect sense. The best ever was, and I think this was the day Mike finally got sarcasm, was the I won't get into the horrible details, but basically, hey, there's a reflection of somebody again in the window of somebody's face in a piece of glass. And the rich people said, I just call them rich people. This assistant idiot probably made no money and was trying desperately to look like they were working super hard to earn more money. They said, something weird's going on. There's like, it's like, it looks like there's a face or something like in the glass, but the face is over here, but it looks like it's in the glass. What's up with that? Get rid of, like, fix that. Like, something's happening. Oh, okay. And as we got rid of it, in the few minutes it takes to do that, because, we didn't have super fancy effects back then, so it might have taken a few minutes to make exist. We sat in a room where we had a bunch of windows. Mike specifically had windows in the front, windows on the side. He was almost surrounded by too many windows. And all night, as we stayed there fixing a bunch of random nonsense, he would look and go, ah! And jump, or like literally fall out of his chair, or throw things like, ah! At the window. Who's that? Somebody's coming at me. I don't know what's happening, etc. And I'd have to say, Mike, it's okay. Those are shadows. Those are shadows of a car moving. And then we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And then we would cry and get angry and go home and punch trees until our fingers were broken and bloody. Because that's how animation works. You just do things because people ask for them. Because it is all made up and imaginary. So why wouldn't they ask for more made of imaginary stuff? What? Of course you would. I exist in a world where it is like, why don't I just draw some more crazy things? The next episode, if I glance at tomorrow's notes, is actually about that, so I won't go too far into that. This is about the history of this thing and how it's all Mike's fault, and he listens to the show and says, ah, it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know how. Like vacation stories, the greatest thing, the worst thing. To me, they all get told with the same inflections. They all get told with the same energy and hand movements that don't make a whole lot of sense if they're not any action things to describe, or I'm talking about moving things or lifting things up, because that's usually what my hands are doing. Um, but that's it. Like Mike just got a kick out of this, and a few people did, and he made it into a thing. Like we're recording it, it's happening. And then it got to a point where it's like, you guys are too busy. I moved away, but now I want to keep doing this. So I did. And then came back around again where it's just like, Mike, I don't want to work in TV anymore. These revisions on the reflections are too stupid. And Mike was like, I work in video games now. Come over here and do this. And then I did. And then eventually that keeps coming around full circle. And then the power of the white Mike is like, hey, do some Twitch videos. Just play a video game and then talk to the camera. You're a crazy person. That's literally all I've ever wanted to do. I can't do that because that's not how life works. You don't just take the thing you want to do and then do it. Again, that's why God gets you. That's why the Bible does those horrible things. I think it says in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I just listen to the Magic Priest Man. Scare me. And then whatever Mike told me about later. So I did those videos. And then after a point, Mike was like, we don't really need to do those that often. That makes sense. That makes sense. We're mostly a video game company, so there's no reason for me to spend half my morning making videos where I'm playing the video game. I mean, a lot of them you can still watch them. They're on this channel. Uh, we're oh no, I can't get. Okay, there we go. Um, yeah, I should probably be working on the video games more than talking about ours and or other games. But then after not doing it for let's say 45 minutes a day, it's like well there we go again. Like has set me on yet another path. Another tangent has been opened up on Tangent Street, and I got to move in. I got to build another house because I'm going to end up on every one of these streets at some point. And I don't know. I'm glad, like, part of the purpose of our video game company is so that I have the time and the money to afford a place where I can do things, where I entertain Mike, and that's what I'm doing. And we'll get into this stuff a lot more. Every few episodes, we'll talk about why and how these things come to be. Why this is kind of a morning breakfast show is a whole other episode. That one's kind of hard to tell because I think it might make me cry, which still could be hilarious for Mike. I don't know. I don't think that's the part he likes. He mostly enjoys when I get infuriated by things that normal people don't get infuriated by. And uh, yeah, it's the Batman and the Joker or whatever. Like, um, I don't know. Did I create you first, or did you create this? Chickens and eggs. There's no way to know how you exist. But um, Clock's about to hit 30 minutes. I should really stop instead of. I'm gonna stop. Everybody, be good. Be careful. Go play Dragon Fighters Dungeon Wars. I like designed, let's say all of it, and I'm in it. I'm not sure right now at this minute, but within the next few days to a week, if when you build things inside your dungeon, I'm the guy. I mean, so is Brent, but like I'm the little guy, and I get scared, and I build things, and I juggle. I think it's been a little while since I looked at it, but I designed it. I keyed it out, and you can play in that world. It's called Dragon Fighters Dungeon Wars. Every time you spend money in there, it makes my life a little bit better. And if you can get everybody you know to spend some money in there, or just play it, actually, I don't even care. We don't have any paywalls. It's a new era of having fun in games instead of getting people to. I mean, it's anyway. Go play it, and then you will know uh, what the adventures of Mike White and me have led to in respect to career, and because that's one of the things, and then the other things, and then this and then that. But seriously, carefully, gooding, being, baconing, eggsing, morning, good. What? Hey, subscribe. Hey, click on my butt or Ripley's butt to subscribe. Click on my butt. Click on my butt. Click on my butt. Hey, click on my butt or Ripley's butt to subscribe. Click on my butt. Click on my butt. Click on my butt.